When it comes to video game leaks, some companies go ballistic, while a few companies like CD Projekt Red like to go nuclear. Last year at E3 and I think it was actually Gamescom, some leaked footage of The Witcher 3 was posted on the internet. Someone recorded footage with his phone, then posted it on the internet. CD Projekt did all they could to remove that footage to contain the flow of information, because they want full control of how the information is spread. That's actually what a lot of video game companies want. They want to control what information you get. They want full control over what you see, what you know about the game before it comes out. They don't want, in their opinion, have finished footage of the game on the internet if they can prevent it, unless they decide that, for whatever reason, that say for beta footage with like MMOs in particular. There's a lot of MMOs there that are fine with people posting beta footage or even alpha footage, or Lords of Draenor specifically here, on the internet, and they don't have a problem. But it depends on a company by company basis. CD Projekt is one of those companies that wants to control, that wants a very strict control over the information that's spread on the internet over their game. So when some files, some of them detailing major story choices of The Witcher 3 made their way on the internet, they went nuclear. They banned people from even mentioning them on the Witcher boards or posting details of the leaks for long periods of time. It's whatever. Fine. If you want to play like that, CD Projekt, fine. You have control over your forums, but you do not have the right to prevent people from talking about these materials. Just once they're out there, they're right now publicly available. They're on the internet. There's a link in the description where you will find another link on NeoGAF from where you can download these files if you're interested in them. As to what these files contain, the mainstream video game media has done their usual bullshit without knowing what the fuck they're talking about, without even really looking at the files and knowing what they're talking about. It's like, oh, the endings are spoiled, except they're not. Major choices of the game are presented in these leaks, absolutely, and the fate of certain characters, depending on what choice you picked, is presented. But the details of the ending, where it is at, what happens in the ending, how it all ends, what happens to Geralt, what happens to Ciri, what happens to Yennefer, Triss, all that kind of stuff, what happens to Nilfgaard, the North, all that, it's unclear exactly how events play out. You have choices and the outcome of these choices, but they don't really talk about the events. Most of the files that are leaked are not even about the story. The vast majority are just long lists of quest descriptions, long lists, well, not really quest descriptions, long lists of quests or assets, in-game assets. I think that the files were taken from a designer, quest designer, or world designer, whatever. There's some list of characters that will be, though a lot of it seems incomplete. Now I'm going to discuss about this. And as you might expect, there will be spoilers here. Some of these spoilers I would classify as major spoilers, especially when it comes to the choices. You have been warned about what's going to be in this video. I'm not going to say this again. If I see any comment from some idiot complaining, oh, you spoiled the game, it's like, no, you've been warned. There are spoilers in this video. Deal with it. If you don't want to know spoilers, don't watch the video. Simple as that from this point onward. So, what exactly do these files have? Well, there's a couple of important decisions that are mentioned in these leaks, not all of them. The tattoo from The Witcher 2 will be in The Witcher 3, though that was kind of confirmed before that by John Momeas. I personally have been advocating for the tattoo, the blue stripes tattoo from The Witcher 2 to be in The Witcher 3. It's a very easy thing to implement in The Witcher 3 and does carry quite a bit of weight. I'll talk about this in a future video where I'll talk about imports in The Witcher 3 as a whole. Just focus on that, just focus on what should be in terms of imports. If you think these files are anywhere near the level of the Mass Effect 3 leak, I'm sorry to say, but you would be quite mistaken. The story draft of Mass Effect 3 was in the Mass Effect 3 leaked files, and there were actually pretty much the entire story of Mass Effect 3 was in the leaked files, or the story that they developed at one point, though the story at the end was kind of significantly different in certain respects, while in other respects it was quite similar. When it comes to this, there's not that much to go on. So the tattoo from The Witcher 2 to The Witcher 3 is mentioned there. It's mentioned apparently in a quest description, so there might be a quest on the subject, there might be dialogue. Personally, I don't really care about that, I just want the tattoo there, that's all. I don't care if people mention it or not. Besides that, Lefo is in the game. He's confirmed based on these files that he's in the game, though he was pretty much confirmed based on the Sword of Destiny trailer and an interview with John Mameus, where he was trying to be very coy about it. It's like, oh, well, if it looks like Lefo, then you know, you have to think that he's going to be in there. He didn't give a confirmation. CD Projekt doesn't want to talk about characters that will be in The Witcher 3, you know, even characters that might be alive or not, depending on choices. Sheila the Tanserville, who can die in The Witcher 2, can be in there in The Witcher 3. And those are the only 2 characters from The Witcher 2 or Witcher 1 that can be in The Witcher 3, you know, that could die in the events of The Witcher 2 specifically, with Lefo and Sheila. Philippa is in there, Radovid is in there, Emir is in there, Yennefer is in there, Geralt or Ciri, Yennefer, all that kind of stuff. All these characters, Vesemir, Lambert, Eskel are also in there. Siegfried is not mentioned, Eskel is not, sorry, not Eskel, Berengar is not mentioned, though I don't think anyone really expected that. Shani is not mentioned, Vest is not mentioned being there, Cynthia is not mentioned of being there, but keep in mind, these files are incomplete. I will contact the developers on this and, you know, private message on the Witcher boards, contact the community manager and see what he has to say on this. I don't expect an answer, I'll just lay down my concerns in regards to this and make a video to talk about which character should be there and for what reason. I think Lefo being there makes sense. I think Lefo is a character, yes, I know he can die, it's a major story choice, but I think it's very important that Lefo be in The Witcher 3 because he is part of the School of the Viper, he's loyal to Emir and Emir wants Ciri, and he's also very knowledgeable about the Wild Hunt, so it just makes sense that he would be in a game about the Wild Hunt. As to what role he'll play, based on the files, it seems that he'll be in some side quests, not sure what role he'll have in the overall story part. When it comes to the Witchers, Vesemir, Lambert, Eskel, Lefo, I don't think they'll play a major role in the story. I think that there will be large portions of the game where Geralt will be alone, and I think that that characters like Triss, Yennefer, Dandelion, Zoltan, and the Witchers will only appear in certain segments of the game. At least that's the feeling I get from watching the trailers, from what they've been talking about, what the footage they've shown us. In terms of major story details or choices that you can make in the game, that you know, and their outcome. Well, with regards to, there's some flashbacks that are detailed. Most of these spoilers come from a flashback list. Now, some of these detail major events that happen in the game. Some of them detail events that happen in the ending of the game. What role Geralt plays in this, whether or not, you know, this is him remembering an event he was part of or not, or, you know, maybe he just goes to an area and someone tells him this and he has a flashback, whatever. I don't know. There's some major things here. I will not talk about the things that happen throughout the story. I don't think that's really important. I don't really care that much about that. Okay, so this event happens in the game, there's an attack on this location, whatever. I will, however, talk about the fate of certain characters. Geralt can end up with Triss, Yennefer, or he can end up alone. Well, I know what I'm going to go for, by the way. Fuck both of them. Screw both Triss and Yennefer. I've read the short story, I've read the part of Blood of the Elves. I really don't want to end up with either Triss or Yennefer, so going alone. Ciri can die, or live, or she can become Empress of Nilfgaard, depending on your choices. That's not in the flashback list, that's something from another file in these leaks. I don't know how she might die. I don't think it's going to be just one choice. It might be you failing the investigation. You probably will have to find her in a certain time frame. Who knows? And if you don't, you probably will have her die, or I know there may be some major choice there. Nilfgaard can win the war or lose the war, and you have choices. That's good. You know, I was really concerned about the fact that it seemed that CD Projekt was taking politics, was removing the politics from the equation with The Witcher 3, that you will not have major political decisions, but apparently you do. You can decide the fate of the war between Nilfgaard and the North. Emir cannot die, but Emir can go crazy if Nilfgaard loses the war. That's actually there. That's something that really pisses me off and really concerns me. You know, at least he's not dying, but him going insane is not ideal. And that ending has his canon successor, because Emir was eventually removed from power in the Witcher canon, in the books that is, in the book's canon, by a guy called Vorhis. Vorhis replaces Emir in The Witcher 3 as well. Another ending is Nilfgaard wins the war, Emir stays emperor. Emir deals with some political opposition. He had political opposition in the books as well, so they're doing that as well here. Emir will have political opposition, and you might be able to help him deal with that, or not, depends. We'll see how it goes. Or, third ending, Ciri can become Empress of Nilfgaard. Emir steps down in favor of her, and she marries Vorhis. As I said, major spoilers. I do classify these as major spoilers. Besides that, the final ending, really, there's like what, four endings with variations, with 3 variations for each of them. The final one concerns the fate of the city of Novigrad. Novigrad can be destroyed if Radovid dies, or Novigrad can survive even if Radovid dies, or Novigrad will survive if Radovid survives. It depends on the choices you make. There's also some connection with someone called the Inquisitor. It's worth mentioning that Novigrad in the Witcher universe is the center, what's the location where the cult of the Eternal Flame, which the Order of the Flaming Rose was a part of, where it is based off. I think Siegfried should certainly be there. I think he should have some role in the overall story regarding the plotline in Novigrad, because obviously he is the Grand Master of the Order of the Flaming Rose, which is Radovid's royal army. He should be there. He should have a major role. Roach and Rjorvifar in The Witcher 3, by the way. But that was something CD Projekt themselves stated. Yeah, besides that information about endings, with regards to characters being The Witcher 3, most of them were confirmed by CD Projekt themselves, or before these leaks happened. They did say that Rjorvif, Roach were in the game. They did pretty much say Lefo was going to be in the game, Radovid was obviously going to be in the game, Emir was going to be in the game, Ciri, etc, etc. There's that. When it comes to characters, the only real surprise is Dijkstra, but Dijkstra himself was shown in the footage at E3 this year before the leaks. Dijkstra is the former head of Ruthenian intelligence. Now apparently he's a mobster in Novigrad. What role he might have in all of this, I do not know. The reason he is no longer the head of Ruthenian intelligence is that Radovid's father was murdered by Philippa Eilhart. It's never confirmed in the books, but the games went along with the idea that, yes, Philippa murdered Radovid's father, or at least that's what a lot of people think. It's never really clear that. Anyway, Dijkstra confided in Philippa that he was on the hunt for the murderers, and then Philippa tried to have him assassinated. And after that, he went on the run because he believed he had misplaced his trust, and that's what led to Philippa becoming the most powerful person in Redania until Radovid removed her from power, pretty much. But you know, whether or not Dijkstra would become the head of Redania intelligence or help Radovid remains unclear. I don't know. Philippa is in the game. Most of the lodge members are in the game. Franziska Findabair is not in the game based on these files, though maybe she'll show up, maybe she won't. There's another file detailing locations that you will visit. Apparently the prologue is not in Kaer Morhen. I do not think the game world will stretch all the way to Kaer Morhen. I think that's too big. It's too much. It's like you want to cover all of Redania and then most of Kedwen to get to Kaer Morhen. So it's unclear how you'll be able to get to Kaer Morhen, but it's not in the prologue. There's a prologue area where you'll have a tutorial. There's side quest descriptions for the prologue area and only the prologue area. It's in a village, and that's basically the tutorial area of the game. So there's Kaer Morhen, there's No Man's Land. It's not detailed where No Man's Land is, and obviously there's Skellige, there's Novigrad. Finally, one area that did catch my interest was Avalach, the island of Avalach. that's the place where Geralt and Yennefer were taken by Ciri after they died, and that's where they were nursed back to health, and where they spent pretty much 2 years or 1 year before the Wild Hunt captured Yennefer from Geralt. Then Geralt went on a hunt for, when trying to recover the Wild Hunt, he met Leffo, and eventually Geralt became one of the riders of the Wild Hunt in exchange for the Wild Hunt freeing Yennefer. And maybe I think that might just be the ending area, ending location of the game, where the ending of the game might take place. At least that's what I think. As for how the ending will be, how the story will play out, yes, we know that Geralt is going to go looking for Ciri. How all of that plays out is really unclear. Oh, another thing about the endings of the game that I forgot to mention, you can put a queen, you can put a woman as the queen of Skellige, you can put a guy as the king of Skellige, depends on who you want to pick. But there's no details about what their stances are, who they want to side, whether or not they want to be with the North, whether or not they want to be with Nilfgaard. All of those details are not revealed. So no, I don't think this leak is nowhere near as damaging as the details that came out for Mass Effect 3, though there are some concerning things that I will bring up with the developer, specifically Emir's Madness and the lack of characters that could die in The Witcher 2 or Witcher 1 that are in The Witcher 3. Characters that I think would be sensible to see would be Siegfried, Cynthia, Shellard, Henselt, maybe not, depends. Really depends how they do the whole war thing. But, you know, this is something that I'll talk in a future video about imports in The Witcher 3 and why I think they should do it. It might be too late, probably should have done a video on that subject a while ago, but there's, well... But there's some concerns I have with what they're gonna do imports. Although most developers don't care about imports. This, you know, the whole thing with imports is that it's only something that Bioware did with Mass Effect 2. Before that, before Mass Effect 2, it had been done over a decade ago. Before, you know, like before 2000 even. I think that was when the last games, RPGs, whatever, did imports. And apparently they did them far better than Mass Effect 2 did or Mass Effect 3 did. And some people told me that they expected from Mass Effect 3 something on the level of those old games. But we'll see. Some people argue that imports are not valuable. I disagree. I strongly disagree on that subject. But again, that's something I'm going to discuss. Anyway, that's all there is to say with regards to the leaked materials. There's monsters list. There's a map of Skellige. And it details the size. It's about 50 square kilometers. Though CD Projekt still stated that the area of Skellige and Novigrad is about 62 square miles. Yes, miles. Do consider the size of that. Do consider how big Novigrad is then, or the area around Novigrad. It's not just Novigrad, it's also the area surrounding Novigrad. Anyway, Costin here on Serious Gaming signing up. Hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for more.